Hello and welcome to New Filmmakers Los Angeles. My name is Danny De Lillo. I'm delighted to be joined by Marc, who is one of our most dedicated alumni in the time difference that he is dedicated right now. He made a beautiful film called Beautiful Alexander. If you haven't seen the film, let's take a look at the clip. Marc, I'm honored that I'm with you right now, and your dedication as a filmmaker. That given the time difference, we're stretching from LA to the Netherlands. But listen, thank you for your film. But for those that haven't seen it, tell us a brief synopsis of your film.
Yeah, shortly said, my sort of logline is the transition of an adolescent to young adulthood.
Mm-hmm.
And I use a metaphor, an infinite landscape of sand and a diving board. Yeah, that's the metaphor in the film for this transition he's making. And I use, well, it's a sensual story where he's also like discovering himself, not only like it's about identity, but not only about who am I, but only this sexual feelings he has. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
I love the way that you shot this film. It was so artistic. It was so raw and so real of just, someone just like you say, growing up, discovering who they are, discovering their identity, discovering what they're interested in. Like it was a beautiful exploration of what one goes through. And what I love the most actually, Marc, is that we don't really see this perspective in films or this moment when someone's visualizing what they're feeling inside. And so I really love that. For you personally, where did the inspiration come for you in turning this idea into a film?
Well, the personal story behind it is that like I was very focused on, in general, on these transition points you make, like the first 7 years of your life, the next 7 years. I see it in 7 years, like, how do you say it? 7 years.
Yeah, I know what you're trying. Yeah, I know what you're trying to say.
Yeah, so the first 7 years you grow up, and then you have the next 7 years, and then you have the next 7 years, and so it goes on and on and on, and you're changing, and you grow up, and you make decisions.
Adolescence into adulthood, yeah.
And my transition at this point, like from adolescent to young adulthood, like I totally froze.
Yeah.
Myself. I got intensely in love with a boy, and he was straight. And I just stayed in love for so many years, and I was only like sort of almost obsession, like it was sort of an obsession, like I could only think of this boy.
Yeah.
And so I felt like I missed this part in my life. Like, what was my transition? What did I experience? So I wanted to explore that, but then really in a deep focus. And then, and the images of this landscape came together by just, it always goes by watching films, things around me. And I noticed that when this idea came, I always try to go back, like, where does it come from, these images, because they collapse in your head and they mix up. And and it was by seeing Le Samurai with Alain Delon. It's totally a different story. It's a crime.
Yeah, I know your references, yeah.
But he's lying, the opening scene is that he's lying on his bed and he's smoking, and the smoke goes up, and there are two windows and this little bird in the middle. And that image got stuck in my head. And then I saw, I think, Somewhere of Sofia Coppola, like this sensual vibe. It's actually Los Angeles.
Vibrant, yeah.
Yeah. And there was also a diving board, I remember. yeah, and so this idea got together, and then you translate in your head, like, why do I have this image, and these feelings come to it, and then yeah,
I,
I
I,
started
I love
writing.
that I love that you took these moments, and I love the detail, of your thought process with every movement, and being part of the LGBTQ plus community myself, and those first realizations when you like someone, and that feeling that it does, and these new feelings, and we have what society says it should be, and yet we're feeling different, and we feel new, and we feel scared and insecure, but at the same time wanting to explore, and like it's a lot. And I really related to that film and those moments of my life. It really came across for me too, and so I can empathize with what you were creating, and felt I saw a lot of me in there too. So I'm with you on this. What was so beautiful was just this, this setting that you created. Like, this location was beautiful, like right by the beach. Like, it was so private and intimate. Like, is that kind of the atmosphere that you wanted to create? Because I really felt like, I don't know, I was seeing him, but I was like almost part of his soul of discovery. It didn't feel, it was so intimate the way you shot it.
Yeah, the thing, like, of course we have, like, he stays in this little cabin for a very long time. uh, uh yeah, do you mean also intimate with the landscape around it, or?
Yeah, the landscape, but even the way that it was shot, like it felt very, it was, he was going for his personal exploration, but you felt like, you were almost just, I don't know, it felt like an essence of what he was experiencing, the way that you shot it. It was just like the way you shot a hand, or the way that you shot a glimpse in the mirror. There was some really beautiful shots in there. You wanted to create that kind of intimate atmosphere kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely, and yeah, it's just an endless discussions with your cameraman and with production design, because all the time it was hard to find a location for it. I traveled through the whole of the Netherlands with the cameraman, just finding something like,
Wow.
what could fit to the story, because it was too difficult to do it only with VFX.
Yeah.
And basically we ended up at the same point as where we started, but then we didn't look far enough the first time that we got there. We have these dunes, and we stayed behind the dunes, but when we would have looked over the dunes, we would have found that location, but we didn't. So we traveled 2 months to the whole of the Netherlands, and we came back to the same point. And I actually wanted to create a little house,
Uh-huh.
an actual house. Of course, that was not possible, because there was not a house. It was too expensive to make it. And the diving board had to be built, but that was also a lot of money. So it was also, how do we deal with production design, and how to get it on camera. And yeah, so we drove the caravan down there, and then it's this endless discussion with the cameraman, like, where do we go? How do we catch this inner feeling of this boy, and that, how do you say, attributes, with the surrounding. And what for me, for example, was very important also, that I didn't want dialogue in the film,
Yeah.
but there is dialogue in the end. But
Mhm.
when there's dialogue, they can't understand each other.
I know, I love it. It's a great.
That's, of course, he's calling. Actually, for me, it's with his mother. I mean, you can interpret it, but you don't hear the dialogue, but it's very silent in that way. It's
Yeah.
I want to create it through the sound around it, and the images and the music people have,
Yeah.
and this
All we needed.
communication.
That's all we need. The music was such an important part to how you were feeling this film. And I haven't even got a chance to meet. So your casting of Alexander, well, he was fantastic. How was, I mean, it's probably quite a difficult role for an actor to sort of almost portray. How was your process working with him as an actor, and kind of how did you work him through the process? Were you letting him kind of explore, certain things with himself, or how was it? How was that process for you?
Yeah, I think he was great. He had a sort of YouTube series he did, and that's I found him with a casting director and we had 6 boys. And well, the moment he walked in, you saw that he had this flair, he had this, yeah, it had to be him. And then we started this process also with a choreographer to do the movements, and that was really intimate, like this relationship he created with the choreographer, and I let them in a room, and it was just this also exploring your body. It was not how do you say, yeah, we have this school in the Netherlands, it's called SNDO, School for New Dance Development. So it's more this sort of performing art on stage that gave. I didn't want just to get a sort of not conservative, but just a dance choreographer. But I wanted this experimental choreographer to it. Like when I go to his performances, like there are 100 scissors falling from the ceiling, and there's
it
a
was
lot of
the movement pieces that, you know, it was so joyous to watch, you know, like seeing someone kind of like, you know, exploring just themselves, you know, through movement. It was really beautiful to watch. And of course, when at the ending, when they both have this experience of movement in their bodies, it was just very powerful to watch, you know. It was really, really nice. Kind of like, what did you want your audience to take from your film? If there was anything in particular. I mean, I know it's a bit of a personal journey, but like I took so many things from it. I'm just curious if you have anything that you wanted your audience to kind of, you know, take note of.
Yeah, that's a good question. Let me think. What do I want the audience to take from the film? It's, well, my answer to this is I want people to not to let themselves, okay, sorry, what's the translation?
No, please take your time. We've got plenty of time. It's a difficult question too. I've thrown it at you.
Well, what I'm noticing around me all the time is like there's a difference between do you let yourself form by your environment, or do you form yourself in the environment? And that's also what I want to tell with this story, is like how to find yourself with all these different voices outside. Because the window is also sort of a canvas to the outside world, and everybody has their own things, the way of moving, and not to copy yourself to something you see, but trying to find your own voice, your own identity. Try to look inside, like, who am I, and try to discover that.
Yeah,
and
I love that. And I love that you gave us sort of for me as well, like you gave us sort of freedom, that of just, you know, the freedom that you should have to explore your own self, you know, and how important that is to have freedom to explore your own, like you say, your inner self, you know, your body, everything. Like it was just really free flowing. I'm so glad that, you know, you took this moment in time and showcased it in Alexander. It really was beautiful. What now? This is the, you know, it was been really wonderful to have you at New Filmmakers LA. It was so great to have you in partnership with the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, and then on top of that, having it in focus on amazing, you know, talented people from the Netherlands. How great was it to be part of this whole thing together? Because it was very special to have you part of it.
To me, yeah, it came actually as a real surprise. I was shooting in Germany. I was assisting for a long film, for a feature film. And then the producer of my film just sent me the message, and it was just, okay, what is it? And I just looked up what it was, and I got very excited about it. And of course, I knew already some of the Dutch filmmakers, who have a lot of respect for them and for their work. And yeah, so it was amazing. I didn't really know what to expect, like few days ago, like with the industry meetings and how does it work, and with the Corona time with the Zoom, and
Yeah.
like this is there a big distance, or what will the atmosphere be like? But it all felt very close and very like informal.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody could say what they wanted to say, and you saw that also, and it felt just like just a warm get together.
Yeah,
And
that's what we try, Mark. We're your extended filmmaking family now, so you're stuck with us, unfortunately.
yeah, that's really what it felt like. So I
Good.
was really excited, and it was an honor being part of this, definitely.
Oh, thank you, Mark. I'm just curious though, what is next for you?
I'm writing a series at the moment.
Oh, great.
Yeah, and I did like now for 8 months already, like research, and I'm writing scenes every day, and then I throw everything away. But
Wow.
it's just for now, for months, like finding, because I'm creating now a big world, or
Mhm.
a big
Oh, wow.
uh, area, and so every day you discover new parts in this area, and like what is the connection between the characters, and why are they moving, how they move, like, and just storylines. And I just started with this main question: what does art mean for society?
Wow. I'm
And
excited.
so that's what I'm investigating.
Oh,
And
amazing. Yeah.
yeah,
No,
I'm
very
very
you're taking us to a new world, and best wishes with embarking on that. I'm looking forward to seeing that when that is in action. But listen, thank you very much for your beautiful Alexander. Thank you for being part of this whole weekend, and thank you for your talents, and keep making more films for us, please. So thank you.
thank you so much. Thank you.